Today we're going to be talking about 5 steps to getting a Division I offer as a quarterback. Now, there are a lot of elements that go into getting recruited as a quarterback, especially at the Division I level, and that is what we're going to be covering today. We're going to be talking a lot about your height, talking a lot about your weight, the weight needed to play at the Division I level as this video progresses. But the first thing that I want to talk about is your highlight tape. Your highlight tape that you make and that you send out to coaches find on Twitter, whatever, at the quarterback position is what gets you recruited. Now, what do you need to showcase on your highlight tape? First things first, you need arm strength and accuracy. Obviously, accuracy is always going to trump arm strength. If you have a cannon of an arm, you can't hit anything, it does not matter. But you've got to showcase that and the accuracy thing is a given, right? You have to showcase that you have college level arm strength. So what does that mean? You have to be able to showcase that you could throw a deep fade. You could throw a fade from the opposite hash. You could throw a 10-yard speed out. Like, let's say you're a right-handed quarterback. You could throw a 10-yard speed out to the left from the opposite hash, a 15-yard deep out, a deep 18 back to 16-yard comeback. Those are the throws that colleges expect from you. Like, I'm a quarterback trainer in Southern California. I work with a bunch of guys down here. And around, like, I guess you could say in the winter, right after Christmas break, they have a lot of college coaches that come out. It's called the contact period. And what they do is they'll have my quarterbacks throw for them, right? So, like, I've had Arizona State out here before. We've had Washington State come out and look at my guys. A bunch of different schools all across the country. And they always ask them for 3 throws. Deep comeback, 18 to 16. Speed out from the opposite hash at about 12 to 15 yards. And then they want to see him throw a deep ball because they want to see arm strength, and that's what your highlight tape has to showcase. Second thing that I think is the most important now, especially with the way the game is going, extend playability. They don't need you to be Lamar Jackson. They don't need you to be like Johnny Manziel when he was in college. What they need you to do is they need you to be able to step up in the pocket, step out, throw off platform, escape, get out of the pocket, throw on the run. And maybe if you're a dual threat, pulling the ball down and go making some plays with your legs is super beneficial. But if you can showcase those 2 types of plays on film, that will help you stand out, especially to a D1 coach. We cannot be the guy that can only deliver an accurate pass and be good from a clean pocket. It's one of the mistakes that I made on my film very early on in my highlight tape, because remember, the first minute of your highlight tape is important. And that's the only amount of time that a college coach is going to spend on your highlight tape, by the way. He's a busy guy. He's only going to watch 1 minute, and he's already going to have his mind made up. The mistake I made was that in the first, like, maybe I guess you say 10 plays, was all in the pocket throws. It showcased arm strength, showcased accuracy, but I had plays later on in my film that showcased that I could get out of the pocket. I was a dual threat. I could throw on the run. I could make people miss. That should have been early on. I wish I had this kind of information when I was a player, because it would have helped me stand out to more coaches. So arm strength and extend playability is what you need early on in your highlight tape. Now, before we talk about the height and weight needed to be a Division I quarterback, you guys, if you are a quarterback and would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, we're going to be coming out to 10 states across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. Next up on our camp tour, we'll be heading out to Dallas, Texas. Then we'll be coming out to Nashville, Tennessee, Chicago, Illinois, Buffalo, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Detroit, Michigan, Boise, Idaho, and Los Angeles, California. So, guys, you want some more information, you want to train with us, and you're local to one of those cities or would like to travel out, we have so many guys travel out to all of our different camps, and we super appreciate the support. If you're one of those guys that has done that, really means the world to us. But guys, if you want to attend, again, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out there. That'll give you all the information, how you can sign up, and what we'll be covering over the 2 days. So again, very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this video. Now, second thing I want to talk about when it comes to playing quarterback at the Division I level is going to be the height requirement, right? So everybody loves to put quarterbacks into a box of, hey, you need to be 6 foot, 6'1" and above to be able to play quarterback, right? They think that any short guy, any short quarterback, oh, you should switch positions, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, if you can ball, you can ball. That's all I want you guys to worry about, because at the end of the day, you can't control your height. Height is completely genetic. It's either you're going to be tall or you're going to be short. Myself, not blessed with any height genetics, right? Everybody in my family's short and I'm short, right? So I had to accept that. And the thing is that, like, I had goals to play in college football. My goals weren't necessarily play Division I. My goal was just to get my education paid for. And I did, and I achieved that goal. And what made me appealing to college coaches was not my height. It was what I could showcase on film and the certain aspects of my game as a shorter quarterback that I needed to showcase, right? Number one was a quick release, right? Because again, as a quarterback, if you're short, you're not gonna be able to sit there, hold the ball, go through clean pocket. You're gonna have to get the ball out of your hands, right? So that's something I spent a lot of time on. Number two was my footwork in the pocket. I used to have plays, guys, no BS, where I would not be able to see anything, knew it was going to happen pre-snap. I'd take the snap and I would start drifting as I got into my drop, just to create throwing windows for myself. So your pocket footwork, the footwork you have, moving from throwing window to throwing window, getting comfortable playing through lanes, and getting a quick release is how you can ball as a short quarterback. So guys, I would say the average height for a Division I level quarterback is probably 6 foot and above. Anything below that would be classified as short. Guys, at the end of the day, they're looking for the best quarterbacks. They're not looking for a center in basketball. They don't want the tallest guys. They want the best people possible to help them win games. So if you're the best player in your area, that's what you should be focused on. Don't worry about your height. Your height you cannot control. Does it help to be tall? Yes. Are some people probably going to disagree with me in this and saying that, oh, if you're 5'9", you're not going to get looked at? Probably. But you look at some of the top guys. Bryce Young, when he was in college, Russell Wilson, look at Drew Brees, you look at Johnny Manziel, not big people, guys, but they had certain attributes of their game: quick release, extend playability, throwing windows, throwing lanes. That's, again, what you should be focused on and not worrying about and spending time on your height. Now, tip number 3 that I want to talk about when it comes to playing quarterback at the Division I level is going to be your weight. So your weight is something that's going to help you. Honestly, like as a quarterback, your weight really isn't super important, I would say. You want to be as heavy as possible, but you want to maintain as much athleticism as possible. Putting on weight will help you, I guess you could say, with arm strength, right? Some of you guys out there, maybe you're struggling to throw past a certain distance, like 30 yards, 40 yards. You feel like you have your mechanics down. You're doing some of the drills that I do. You may need to just get bigger and stronger, because having stronger legs, having a stronger core, having more weight on you can help you get more, like, I guess you could say, weight behind the ball, and that can help you with arm strength. So I think that's important. I think, having some weight is ultimately one of those things that will help you absorb some hits, but especially at the quarterback position, guys, you see it every year. There are tons of guys who aren't the biggest, aren't the strongest, aren't the heaviest, and they still get recruited because when you get to college, guys, they're going to put weight on you. So I'm not saying neglect it. I'm just saying don't be so worried about the exact number. Oh, I'm 175. I'm not 180. Are they going to recruit me? If you're the best quarterback around and they love you, they're going to recruit you, guys, at the end of the freaking day. So I would just make sure that if you're focused on gaining some weight, you need to put on some pounds. I would say your goal weight should be probably 170 pounds at the bare minimum. If you're over 170, that's fantastic. I think 170, though, like if you're below 170, it's going to be a tough sell. You don't pass the quote unquote eye test, I guess you could get. So let's say you're a junior in high school and maybe you're 160 pounds. I would try to get to 175, 180 by your senior year, but that is ultimately the range I would shoot for. Now, the fourth thing you need to be able to play Division I level quarterback is going to be football IQ. Guys, I can't stress this enough that every single level that you jump in football. So let's say you're a youth quarterback, you move on to middle school. Let's say you're middle school, you move on to high school. High school, you go to college, right? Every single year, the game gets faster. The game consistently elevates. Player gets faster. Players get bigger. And your throwing windows go from this to this to this to this, right? Now, if you know how to read defenses, you know what to look for. You know to look for coverages. You know the difference between cover 2, cover 4. You know how to identify it pre-snap. You know the weaknesses of each coverage. That's going to put you way ahead of the curve over a lot of other high school quarterbacks who don't necessarily know that stuff. Now, let's say this. Let's say you're not an eye test guy. Let's say you're not the tallest guy. You're not the fastest. You don't have the strongest arm. You can make up for all that stuff with knowing where to attack a defense and where to throw the ball. Because ultimately, this position is all about timing, especially when you're throwing from the pocket and reading defenses. So if you know weaknesses and you know how to read defenses, guys, that puts you way above the competition because you could get the ball in your hands quick. You could throw the ball with anticipation, throw the ball with timing, make full field progressions, and set your team up for success, which is ultimately what college coaches want to see. So guys, if you want to learn how to read defenses, we have 500 videos on our website, all based on reading coverages. We talk about weaknesses, how to identify, what each term means, what each coverage means. So if you guys are completely new to reading defenses or maybe want to get better at it, check out that second link in the description below. It's where you can get access to all the videos. I throw the videos up on a screen. I'm drawing on the screen. I have some audio breakdowns as well. So guys, again, check out that second link in the description below if you want to improve your football IQ. Now, the fifth thing that a college coach is going to be looking for in a Division I level quarterback is going to be leadership. So these are, like, I guess, because, like, think about the recruiting process for a sec, right, you guys? So, like, and this leadership quality that I'm going to be talking about applies to your daily life of your high school program, and I'll tie this back in a second. But think about the recruiting process. Usually the recruiting process starts in the months of, like, January to February. It's a period called the contact period. We talked about this earlier in this video when we were talking about my guys throwing different routes and the college-level arm strength that they're going to want to see on routes. In that contact period, who's the first contact that college coach makes usually? It's your high school head coach. And he asks your high school head coach, hey, we're looking for a quarterback. Hey, we're looking for a receiver, no lineman. Who do you guys have? And he is going to recommend people. And he's going to recommend you as a quarterback. I feel if you check off all the physical traits, but if that coach is a guy who wants a leader, who wants somebody who can lead a room of guys, a locker room of guys, they're bringing in a recruiting class and they want that leader, he's going to recommend you. And again, your high school head coach is one of the biggest assets that you could have in the recruiting process because he's not going to tarnish his own name. He's not going to recommend a player that's going to make himself look bad because that college coach won't come back the following year. So he's going to only recommend guys that he knows will make him proud and make him look good in terms of that recommendation to that college coach that he has a relationship with. right? So leadership and what you do in your high school locker room to lead that group of guys is more important than you think, because you need to be in good graces with your high school head coach, and they want to see a leader. So what do I mean by leader? There's two types of leaders. There's thermostat leaders and there's thermometer leaders. So what is a thermometer? It tells you the temperature of the room already, right? So if the room is 90 degrees, it tells you that it's 90 degrees. A thermostat leader is a leader who sets the temperature. What do you do with the thermostat? You tell it, hey, I want it to be 75. That's thermostat. You want to be a thermostat leader. You want to set the tone in the locker room for the guys. You want to come into that locker room, whether you're a young guy or an old guy, and there are many ways to lead people. There's not one way to lead people. A lot of people think that you need to be that guy who's just in their face, yelling at them, you know what I mean? Like Michael Jordan style leader where you're cussing dudes out, fighting at practice. You don't have to be that guy. You have to be yourself, number one. You can't be that guy. If you're not a rah-rah guy, you can't fake it because they're going to know that it's fake. If you're, a rah-rah guy, you can't try to be quiet because that's just not in your nature, right? So you have to lead a group of guys by being a thermostat leader. This is the bar. This is the work ethic I'm going to bring every single day, and everybody needs to get up to this level. A lot of guys, when they go into a team, especially underclassmen, they will walk into a team and they will go, okay, let me feel the temperature of the room. Let me see how everybody is, and then I'm just going to play up to that. And they never elevate their skills. And that's not what they need at the quarterback position, especially at the next level. They talk all about these great leaders. They're all thermostat leaders. Set the temperature in the room with your work ethic. Show up to everything first. Be the last one to leave. Actually, a lot of people say that, but not a lot of people actually do that. So those are the things you have to do. You have to lead by example. You have to lead from the front, and you have to make sure that you are elevating the skill of your guys. Get them to throw on the weekends. Spend time after practice. Get to the film room early and go over stuff with your guys. Coaches will notice that, and that will give you one of the highest recommendations possible, and that is from your high school head coach to any college coach that wants to recruit you.